I'm Trevor Turner. Once lost, now living on purpose. I know what it's like to feel locked out of your own potential. This show is for the ones who are ready to take their power back and write a new story, 1 hour at a time. You can do it. You can do anything, and you don't need permission. That's why I started the free hour, to give people the space to change their story, to remind them you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are not done, you are powerful. You can find freedom, you can find yourself, and you decide what happens next.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the free hour. It's your boy Trevor Turner, and we're back with another video. We are back with another episode in our free hour ABCs, the ABCs of Tree. And this is our productivity series. This is where we look at aligning efforts with purpose to produce habits that actually move us forward, that actually move us to where we want to go, to actually move us to where we imagine ourselves, where we dream ourselves of being. This is about working smarter, not just harder, because productivity without purpose is just busy work. It's just spinning our wheels. It's not getting us to where we envision ourselves. But this is how we get to it. All right? And this habit that we're going to be talking about today is so simple. We are on the letter J for our productivity series, and we are literally talking about self-reflection through journaling. The reflection that multiplies results. How can self-reflection through journaling and weekly review transform our productivity? Not just in how much we do, but in how deeply we grow. See, look, what if I told you that the secret to getting more done isn't just doing more? It's stopping long enough to see what's actually working. It's taking that step back to take our nose off of the grindstone. It's coming up for air after we've been on the grind for weeks and months and days and hours and seconds. It's coming up and taking that break to sit down and say, okay, what is working for me? What is not working for me? What is getting me to where I want to go? What is not getting me to where I want to go? What is using my energy in ways that I don't need it to be using? And what is making me feel fulfilled? What is getting me going? What is making me feel like this is the thing that I need to bring back and I need to bring in more of, or that I need to bring in less of? This habit is not one of those grand sweeping habits that just changes everything from top to bottom. This is one of those 3-degree habits. They say if a plane takes off from Los Angeles, if the difference in their direction, if their heading is just a couple of degrees, it means the difference between them landing in Florida or the difference between them landing in New York. This is one of those 3 degrees, one of those tiny improvements that we can make in our lives that will make our lives that much better, that will make the things that we are doing that much more efficient, that much more effective, that will help us get to the goals that we want to get to. Not the goals that they tell us that we need to get to, not to the goals that other people want to get to, not to your boss's goals, not to the owner of your company's goals, but to your goals, to where you're trying to go, to where you're dreaming about, to where you tell yourself every morning when you wake up, this is where I'm trying to get to. This is the person that I'm trying to become. And then taking that time to do the weekly reflective journaling that we're going to get into today is what is going to show you when you're making the right steps, when you're making the right strides, or when you're going backwards, or when you're going in the wrong direction. One of the things that I realized very early was that I was fighting against a lot of bad habits. I was fighting against a lot of default settings that were not like geared towards taking me where I wanted to go, where the new me wanted to go, or becoming the new me, or becoming the new person. The habits that I was throwing myself into were the things that I thought with my old frame of thinking that would help me get to the new me. And if I just do more of that, or if I just do more of this, or if I just throw myself more into this and more into that, that I will get to where I want to go. But when I actually took the step back and I actually started really reviewing, really taking the time to put the pen to paper, to put my thoughts out there, I realized that I was not getting to where I wanted to go. I was running all of these different races, but I wasn't getting to the finish lines that I wanted to get to. I was doing the things that other people said would be marks of success. I was doing the things that other people thought that I should be doing, that other people designed and set for their bar, and I was meeting all of those metrics, and I was really rocking things. But then when I took a step back and I looked at where I wanted to go, I wasn't moving closer. I wasn't moving closer to where I wanted to go. So I actually implemented this one into my life, this very simple thing, to where I said, look, what about this week was effective? What did I do this week that got me to where I want to go? What did I do this week that got me into seeking knowledge? What did I do this week that got me ready to, when I get out, to hit the ground running? What did I do this week to help me to look the way I want to look, to feel the way I want to feel, all of those things, right? And the approach that I took was a very simple one, but it's literally the difference between surviving and strategizing. It's the difference between living a day by day, living just not knowing where the next thing is going to come from, not knowing how you're going to solve the next problem, not knowing when you're going to accomplish your next goal, not somebody else's next goal, not somebody else's next metric, not somebody else's next sales projections, but your goals. It helps you reclaim the life that you want, the life that you are envisioning. And one of the things that really helped me was that, I'd come up with this whole concept of the free hour, right? Like, it's my concept. I'm the one who came up with it. I'm the one who thought that this would be a good help to people. I'm the one who was like, hey, this is what is going to help people, in small ways, really adjust their lives, the 3-degree adjustments or the 1% adjustments. This is what is going to do it for so many people. And when I finally started putting that paper to pen, I realized I wasn't even doing it myself. This small adjustment is literally what got me back on the path with my own thing that I was trying to do. I was filling up the free hour with stuff that wasn't improving myself. I was filling up my free hours with stuff that was improvements for other people. I was filling up my free hours with things that were not taking steps on the path that I wanted to go. And I started to reclaim my 1 hour a day to help me get the life that I want. And this hour starts with reflection, with writing, with reviewing, and then most importantly, with recalibrating. Growth doesn't come from what you do, it comes from what you learn about what you do. There's no failure until you quit. Every setback is an opportunity for learning. And this is where you are really able to take those setbacks and figure out what it is you can learn from those situations. So why does writing things down make such a difference? So Harvard Business Review back in 2014, Learning by Thinking, How Reflection Aids Performance by Giada DiStefano. Employees who spent 15 minutes reflecting at the end of each day performed 23% better after 10 days than those who didn't. Reflection deepens understanding. It improves future performance, and it reinforces our learning. So if we are going through something, if we are going through things that we don't like, if we are going through situation after situation after situation, if we are going through obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, if we are bumping our head against the wall, and we start writing these things down, what will happen is solutions will start to come to us. What will happen is we will take that situation and turn it into a learning experience instead of a failing experience. We will take those situations and turn them into testimonies instead of tests. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, journaling helps anchor identity to values, not just goals. The more self-aware you are, the more consistent your actions become. This is where you are able to, because we talk about aligning our efforts with purpose. This is where you are able to say, hey, look, this is the framework. This is my constitution, my purpose. Which actions fulfill that? Which actions don't? It helps anchor you to the reality that you were trying to create. What is it that you're trying to do with your life? I'm trying to become a business owner. I'm trying to be a tradesman. I'm trying to become a welder. I'm trying to become an electrician. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. So what actions have you taken that week that fit that constitution for your life? It anchors you back to that when you open up that paper and you're able to say, okay, look, this is where I need to be going. I see myself going off course. I see myself going further away from where I need to go. It brings you back to that. It stops you from getting further away from it. It helps you get back on the right path. And then Cal Newport, author of Deep Work, advocates for shutdown rituals that include written daily reviews. Mental closure allows your brain to reset and prepare for focused work the next day. Journaling is a performance enhancer. It's not a diary. It answers the question, why should I bother reflecting instead of just planning? So here's one thing I want you to try. Tonight, before you go to sleep, write one thing you learned today and one thing you'll try differently tomorrow. Keep at that for a week and see how it changes your relationship with the idea of journaling. This is not Dear Diary, does she love me, does she love me not? This is journal. This is my framework. This is where I'm trying to get to. I learned this today. I bumped my head doing this today. I failed at this today. I'm going to try this differently tomorrow. Strategize. Let's move on to the framework of it. Journaling captures your moments, but reviewing those moments turns them into momentum. David Allen's GTD, Getting Things Done model, emphasizes weekly reviews to realign priorities and regain control. Stanford Reflection Research, Sophie Leroy 2018, people who perform structured weekly reviews experience 40% less decision fatigue and greater emotional regulation. Review your accomplishments and review your lessons on a weekly basis. Review the outcomes of the things that you have done. Were they positive, which means they were going towards the goals that you want? Were they negative, which means a net negative, that they didn't produce the results according to what you wanted? They may have produced some type of results, but if you were spinning your wheels, or if you were doing it for somebody else, or if you weren't getting to where you want to go, then that's a net negative result. See, the thing is that we can assign the meanings that we want to assign to things. Nothing comes in with built-in meaning. So that we can say, look, my boss called me, told me they needed me to do some work at home. I went ahead and did it. And then and then that happened two times this week. And then when I looked at my journal, or opened my journal up on Saturday evening, before I stepped out, or, Saturday afternoon before I stepped out, or while I was just winding down if I didn't step out, or whatever the case. And I realized that those 2 days really took a toll on my energy levels and how I wanted to get things done that I needed to do. On the research that I was going to do, but instead I was so mentally drained that I just watched a TV show and went right to sleep 30 minutes later. That is a net negative result, even though you have fulfilled the role of being a good employee, of being a team player, of being whatever the case it is. But the thing about it is that you can realign yourself with your purpose. And then revisit goals. Are your goals still aligned with your purpose? A lot of times what we do is when we break our goals down into we break our large overarching goals, the way down the line goals, we break them down into steps. We break them down into little pieces that we're going to take step by step by step, by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. So once you've achieved a set of goals, a 90-day set of goals, and another 90-day set of goals, and another 90-day set of goals, there may happen where you look up a year and a half later and you realize that your goals have shifted in the wrong way. That your goals are now no longer leading to where your purpose is. Your goals are leading to something else entirely. If you feel like your purpose is calling you to another place, but you are taking all of these different steps to fully establish you in a different place, that's when you take your nose off the grindstone. That's when you come up for air. That's when you get off of the hustle real quick and you say, hey, look, Where did I go? Okay, that's the way I need to go. And you revisit those goals. Are they still aligned with purpose? And then you reset the tasks and clear the mental clutter. See, I used to just move fast. I used to just chase survival. I used to just chase money. I used to just chase, like, I got to be doing something. I got to be constantly moving. I got to be, I got to be here, then I got to be there, then I got to be picking this up, then I got to be dropping this off. I got to be going to grab this. I got to be going to do that. I'm going to get the homie, going to get this girl. I'm going to get that. I always got to be moving and doing something. And one of the things that I kept that same mentality, when I tried to change my life and I'm trying to do things differently, I kept that mentality of where the more movement there is, the more production there is. Of where the more activity there is, the more that you're getting things done, the more that you're moving towards what you need to do. And one of the things I realized is that I was saying yes to a lot of things I shouldn't have said yes to. I was saying yes to a whole bunch of stuff that was not going to the goals that I needed to go. I was uplifting a whole bunch of other people and uplifting a whole bunch of other programs and putting my efforts and putting my excellence into a whole bunch of things that weren't my purpose and weren't what I needed to do. To the point where I had completely started ignoring my own free hour. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, this video was going to be about a completely different topic. This J video was going to be about something completely different. But I chose to do this because this is the one that helped me get back to my own. To get back to my own, developing the hobbies that I want to develop, to developing the knowledge that I want to develop, to developing the growth that I want to develop. It's not about just making these videos anymore. It's not about just doing things to help me promote myself with the community that I live in anymore. It's about still growing because I still have work to do and I still have growth to do. Now I'm reading relationship books. Now I'm watching YouTube videos that talk about different aspects. Now I'm learning more. Now I'm taking that 1% growth very, very seriously because I have way more than 80% that I still got to go. I got way more than 70% that I still got to go. Yes, I built a foundation, but when I looked up, and when I say looked up, I mean when I put that pen to the paper and I said, look, my idea was to do this, was to push this, was to make this happen, was to create this, was to build this. I realized that my goals were not 100% aligned with that. And I had to make some shifts. The review process, it taught me to move intentionally. I don't have to move as fast no more. I don't got to have as much movement. I can take one step for the 5 steps I used to be able to take, and that one step is way more effective. That one step is way more impactful. That one step does way more than those 5 steps would have ever done for me before. That one free hour spent reviewing each week changed my direction from reactive again to deliberate. I got back to being proactive. I got back to acting on the world and not letting the world act on me, because I had gotten into this mentality somehow that because I was in a positive space and around positive people and doing positive things, that I could allow that positivity to act on me instead of still being the one to act on the world. You need to be proactive no matter what situation you're in, because this is where we get into the point like, look, if you've been following me from the jump, then that's probably because you changed your life at some point. If you've been started following me later, that's probably because you never had to change your life like I did. So if we are still going to make changes, if we are still going to thrive, if we are still going to become the cream of the crop and rise to the top, then we have to still be proactive and we have to still act on the world. We still have to make our own destiny. We still have to find our own directions. And that does not come from being reactive. That does not come from, even though these are positive people, even though these are wonderful people, even though these are great or amazing people, they do not act on us. They do not dictate what we do. We dictate what we do. And you can't change what you don't confront. You can't confront what you don't record. You can't fix something unless you know it's broken. Or you're a tweaker and then you're going to end up breaking that shit anyway. You need to be able to realize and recognize and diagnose that something is wrong, that something is off. And you need to do it before it becomes major. You need to do it before it becomes something that there's no coming back from. You need to figure out where it is that you took the wrong turns. Try to get back there and make the right turns. Try to figure out how to get from you've made these wrong turns and ended up over here. You're supposed to be over here. You don't have a way back, but you need to figure out how to get back over there. And you can't do that unless you realize that you're over there to begin with. Let's talk about the 3-hour reflection practice. How do you make reflection practical and consistent? Set a consistent time. We're getting back to the basics of the 3-hour, because the 3-hour is where we start to bring productivity back into our lives. The 3-hour is where we start to bring emotional intelligence into our lives. The 3-hour is where we start to bring mindfulness into our lives. The 3-hour practice is designed to implement these new things into our lives. So pick a consistent time to do your reflection. I want your 3-hour practice to be at the end of the week, at the end of a day, end of your work week, end of day. Last hour before you get off the clock if you're able. Last hour before you get to sleep. If you're off on Saturday and Sunday, last hour before you get to sleep on Sunday, or when you're doing your scheduling for the next week, reflect before that. Before you step out on Saturday, before you go and hang out with your friends, do some reflection on what happened throughout the week. Make it at the end of the day, but make it consistent and use prompts. What worked? What didn't? What am I proud of? What do I need to release? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? What do I need to let go of? Make them very, very simple. So you don't have to rack your brain about, first of all, what does this mean? How do I put this into words? No, make it super simple. What worked and what didn't? And then keep it brief. 10 to 15 minutes. Because you're putting this in a 3-hour practice that is going to be chock full of other things. Chock full of meditation practices that we've already talked about. Chock full of mindfulness practices that we've already talked about. Chock full of your other productivity practices that we've already talked about. Scheduling, time blocking, automating. You're just integrating this into your 3-hour practice. Give it 10 minutes, 10 to 15, and pair it with visualization. Imagine what a successful next week looks like. What worked, what didn't. So what does my next week look like now that I'm not putting in the thing that didn't work? Now that I'm doing more of the thing that did work? Now I'm trying something new that I think will work that I got through in my journaling practice. What does that look like? And then close with gratitude. It anchors your mindset in abundance and not scarcity. Dr. Robert Emmons, UC Davis, research on gratitude journaling shows a higher optimism and productivity after 10 weeks of gratitude journaling. Reflection and gratitude creates both accountability and motivation. One of the things that happened with me is, like, and I've said this a million times, but I'm going to say it all the time, the thing that really changed my mindset and how I approached things on a how I feel about my life level was gratitude. Like, yes, I had made choices. Like, yes, I started seeking wisdom. Like, yes, I started changing my perspective. But when my feelings started to change is because of gratitude. And it was hard. It was hard as, I tell you, like, it was not easy. I say it now because at the time, it was hard. It was hard. I can't overstate that. I can't say it enough how difficult it was at the very beginning to find things to be grateful for in a life that I had completely destroyed. I had completely destroyed relationships. I had completely destroyed my living situation. I had completely destroyed my body. I had completely destroyed my health. I had completely destroyed everything. I had completely destroyed my self-esteem, the way I even felt about myself. I had taken that thing down in flames To the point where literally the first thing that I had gratitude for was the fact that I had the power to do that. You know what? I'm grateful that I realized that I was powerful enough to do all of this negative shit, because now that means that I have the power to do other shit. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, so wow, I'm grateful if I can do all of that. Imagine what I could do if I put my energy in the other way. Imagine what I could do if I put my energy in the same way that I got chasing a bag, chasing the sack, chasing the money, chasing that female that was going to give me a trip to the clinic. Imagine if I put that much effort into chasing something else. Imagine where I could go. Imagine what I could do. And I was grateful for that. I was grateful that that drive was there. I never saw it. I never knew that I could use it for beneficial, because I always use it for negative. But when I saw that and I realized, like, damn, I do have something to be grateful for. And then I was grateful for that. And then I was grateful for my ingenuity. And then I was grateful for my creativity. I was grateful for my hustle. I was grateful for all of these things, even though I had used them for negative. I started to be grateful for them because of their potential for positivity. And then I started to feel better about myself. Like, you may have a job that you hate, but you have a job. You may not be using the time that you have off of work to the best of your abilities to get to where you want to go in your personal life, but you have time after work. That's something to be grateful for. It's something to recalibrate, reconfigure, while being grateful that you have the opportunity to do it. Reflection is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. So if journaling is so powerful, why don't most people stick with it? Why didn't I stick with it? Obviously, one of the main things, don't have time. You don't need hours, you just need intention. Sometimes you don't know what to write. That's why you use the prompts or questions. Very simple, so you don't have to rack your brain about how to answer these complex scenarios. You just say, look, what is good? What is bad? What didn't work? What's working? And one of the things that a lot of people say is, it don't work for me. It's not my thing. I would challenge you to say that you haven't even tried it long enough to see if it does work for you or not. A lot of us know that the job we're at does not work for us, but we stay at it for 10 to 15 years. We stay at it for 5 years. We stay at it for 7 years. We know that school wasn't for us, but we got ourselves into $50,000 of student debt. We know that we should be working with our hands and doing a trade, but we went and worked this dead-end job for years. We knew that that relationship was toxic. We're still with them right now. You tried journaling for a week. You haven't tried it long enough to know if it's good enough for you or not. For the next 7 days, take 5 minutes each night to write down one win, one lesson, and one goal. That's your free hour challenge. Reflection multiplies your effort. It's not slowing down. It's focusing forward. Journaling is not about looking back. It's about making sure the next step actually means something. This is something that I had to learn, and it's something that I learned very recently, and it's something that I've learned, like, with all of this desire, with all of this drive and everything that I'm trying to do to implement all of these brand new things into my life. I had to bring this back into my life. And it's something that it's got me back going. It's got me back going and got me back refocused. Let me know what you learned from your first journaling week. Comment on the video, share it with somebody else. Get an accountability partner. Get somebody else that maybe wants to try something like journaling and say, hey, look, man, let's journal together. We don't got to put private stuff in there. We don't have to put personal information in there. We just have to say, hey, this is what worked for me this week. This is what didn't. These are the people who helped me get to where I was going. These are the people who are not. These are the people I need to stay away from. These are the people I need more of. These are the activities that are going to bring me health. These are the ones that are not. Just try it. All right? And let me know what's up. And that's it. It's been your boy Trevor Turner. That's the ABCs of productivity, the ABCs of Tree, the free hour ABCs, where we align efforts with purpose. All right? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what's up. Deuces.